Today I would like to explain on the Hypericum Perforatum, which is very commonly we use in case of injuries, wherever it is in case of the nerve injuries, nerve endings, and along with, as all of you know that the remedies in case of homeopathy, the arnica is one of the remedy which is used for the internal concussion or internal hemorrhage, internal bleedings, and calendula as we use in case of the clear cut injuries. It may be because of sharp blades or sharp scissors, or it may be because of the sharp instruments. And the same way, the hypericum is also one of the remedy where we use the sensitivity of the nerve endings to the tip of the toes or a tip of the fingers, where the sensitivity because on touch. So that is the remedy where today we will be discussing on the hypericum. So Hypericum Perforatum, the family is Hyperaceae family, genus is Hypericum. Specific learning objective of this remedy to understand introduction part of the source, sphere of action, keynote symptoms of the remedy, to identify the pathogenetic, pathognomic symptoms of the remedy, and to employ the therapeutic applications and the relationship of the remedies. In case of it is based on the kingdom, that is the plant kingdom. Order is Malpighiaceae and species is Hypericum perforatum. Active constituent of this plant is the principal constituents thought to be the responsible are hyperforin and ampicillin, and it also acts as antidepressant. Pathogenesis of this remedy, it causes irritation of a spinal cord and the nerves, producing a vascular erythema and congestions. Guiding symptom of this Hypericum perforatum is the great remedy for injuries, nerves, as I said already, especially of the fingers, toes and the nails. Crushed fingers, especially the tips. Excessive painfulness is the guiding symptom to its use. As I said earlier also in my introduction part, arnica, which is used for the internal injuries, ecchymosis, internal bleeding, and in case of clear cut injuries, the calendula, and as the guiding symptom of hypericum says, it is useful in case of the nerve injuries and especially the fingers and the toes. Guiding symptoms of Hypericum perforatum is useful in case of punctured wounds, relieves the pain after operations, spasms after every injuries, has an important action on the rectum and as well as on the hemorrhoids. Spasmodic asthmatic attacks with a change of weather or before the storms, better by copious expectorations, injured nerves from the bites of animals. It may be because of the cat bite, rat bites and some other insects and the animals, and the tetanus, neuritis, then tingling sensations, burning as well as numbness and constant drowsiness. Characteristics by the S.C. Allen, he is one of the great author of Homoeopathic Materia Medica. He says that Hypericum perforatum is useful for the mechanical injuries of a spinal cord, bad effects of spinal concussions and pains after a fall on coccyx. About this we will be dealing more major part in case of the spinal injuries, even in case of sports injuries also we will be dealing in the next class. Spines after the fall or a slightest motion of the arms or the neck extorts the cries, and the spine very sensitive to touch, because this whole remedy itself is having the peculiar symptom of sensitivity of nerve endings. Yes, here I discuss about the spinal injuries. There are the different types of spine injuries. If it is at the level of cervical spine, thoracic spine, lumbar spine and the sacrum as well as the coccyx. So this image itself explains beautifully that cervical spine, whenever the head injuries, in case of head injuries or leading to the quadriplegias, injured part may be unable to use the limbs below the neck or the shoulders. Thoracic spines if there is injuries in the thoracic spine, impact the abdomen and lower back. This can cause the paraplegia, potentially limiting the hand and the arm functions. Lumbar spine injuries can create the loss of hip functions and the issues with the bowels as well as the bladder. And the sacrum as well as the coccyx also, if there is a spine injury in the sacrum level are not as serious, resulting the partial hip function loss or injured parts may still be able to walk. So these are the areas you can see the C4 injuries, tetraplegia, C6 if there is injuries, the tetraplegia you can see the upper part results in the partial paralysis of hands and the arms as well as the lower body. T4 at the level of T4 the injuries, the paraplegia results in the paralysis below the chest, and L1 the injury which is the injury paraplegia as well as results into the paralysis of the below the waist. So top 5 causes of a spinal cord injuries: 42.1% vehicle accidents, 26.7 the fall, 15.1 in case of the violence, and sports 7.6 and others are 8.6. Because as all of us know that because day to day life we are there on the roadside morning to evening, and the injuries are very common nowadays. It may be because of the kids and the students, they never use the helmets, and suddenly if there is a road accidents because of the speed of the vehicle as well as the injuries which are caused because of the collisions. So all of us know that its application in case of such a type of injuries. There are the different types of injuries as I explained. It may be because of sprain or a strain, and contusions, bruise or the hematoma. As I said, the arnica helps very well in case of bruise and the hematoma, and open wound as well as cut wound, abrasions and lacerations usually in case of calendula, and here it is the sprain and the strains, muscle tendons as well as ligaments. Here one more remedy we have to think of is rustox. Rustox is also one of the remedy where the tendons are affected, ligaments are affected because of sprain of the ankle joints, especially on the ankle joints. When the ligament tear will be there, ligament the sprain will be there. During that time this rustox is also one of the remedy where we can apply. There are the different the images here we can see related to contusions. Contusion is the infiltration of the extravasation of the blood into the tissues due to the rupture of vessels by the application of blunt force. Examples: it may be because of the stick or a stone or the fist. It's a subcutaneous without discontinuity of the skin. See the one image where you can see so nicely about the bruise. You can see on the one part of the eye is affected, as well as even the first indicated remedy is the arnica, then we can go for this hypericum. So arnica is the first indication in case of such injuries. Lacerated wounds, as I said, one of the remedies is the calendula, because whenever we study in homeopathy or any part of the remedies, always we have to compare one into other, because so that we can understand very easily the application of the remedies based on the type of injuries or type of conditions, because in each remedies are having the property of very specific symptoms are to be treated by specific remedies. So in case of lacerations, these are the wounds caused by the blunt force resulting torn of the skin and underlying the tissues with the minimal bleeding. Here I would like to say about calendula first to be indicated, and later on if any sensitivity remains, then you can go for the hypericum. So this is the image of lacerated wound. This one also you can see very beautifully. You can see that because of the injuries, it's a self-injured by self. It may be because of the blades or the sharp instruments. Incise wounds, it also produced by the sharp cutting instruments like a knife, razor, blade, swords, chopper or the axe, where the edges are irregular, clear cut, retracted and everted, except in the neck as well as in the scrotum, edges are inverted. Spindle shaped wound, maximum widening of the central part, and length is greater than the breadth, and breadth is greater than the thickness of the cutting blade. So there are the different sports injuries, as I said earlier also, and here the soft tissues injuries and hard tissues injuries. In case of soft tissues, muscle sprains, strains and the bruise and tendons and ligaments. And in case of hard tissues, if the joints, bones, dislocated joints and fractured bones. In case of hard tissues, we will be thinking before this hypericum, the remedy as a calcareous phos, rustox and bryonia, as well as the rhododendron remedies based on the joint dislocations, or it may be because of the fractures also we can think. And please note down the remedy for the fractures also, because there are the series of remedies also there, or you can say the chain of remedies. First will be starting with the arnica, then followed by the calcareous phos, then followed by the ruta, then ends with the symphytum. If there is, again, if anything is required or if any remedy is required in case of the injuries or the pain, then you can go for the hypericum. There are surprising cause in case of depression also, as we know that this remedy is also having the property of to cure the injuries as well as it acts as a antidepressant. That's why I am adding here one of the remedy, because nowadays the depression is very, very common. It is irrespective of age, because it may be because of the failure in the part of their life, or failure in the part of their studies, or failure part of what they want to achieve. So this is very common conditions nowadays we are getting, and so many students also says that the mood disorder, today there is no mood, that's why I am not studying. So in this case also we can think of this hypericum. Even one more condition, that is vertigo, sensation as if the head became suddenly elongated at night with the urging to urinate. This is one part of a sensation. It may not be subjectively, there is just feeling it is at the time of vertigo. It's also indicated in case of different types of vertigos, as all of you know that in case of physiology you have studied the causation and its etiology factor in case of the how the human body is balanced because of the inner ear, semicircular canals, vestibular neuritis, all these vestibular nucleus, and where they maintain the balancing equilibrium of the human. If there is any disturbance, then definitely there will be causation of the vertigo. There are different causes also there, but here I would like to stick only the part of indications, and later on we can go in detail in next class. Even there are the different types of injuries on the skull. General modalities of this remedy: aggravation in the cold, dampness, in a fog, in a closed, as well as least exposure to touch. Amelioration by bending head backwards. The relationship of remedies with a hypericum: compare Ledampal in case of punctured wounds and the bites of animals. Even as I said, arnica is also indicated, Staphysagrea, Calendula, Ruta, and even the coffee cruda. This antidotes by the arsenic album and the chamomilla. Dosage is tincture to the third potencies. Even this is based on the boric, the author he says, but it depends upon you how you decide the potency based on the symptoms. The summary at the end of this class: introduction part of remedy we have understood, mental symptoms, physical symptoms, because based on the injury, the types of injuries we have studied, nature of injuries we have studied, and along with the relationship of the remedy to sum up about this remedy. Thank you.